at this for 12 years.
My country, 'tis of thee.
Why are you doing it?
Sweet land of liberty.
Because God's children are not for sale. It is the fastest growing international crime network that the world has ever seen.
For Homeland Security, you know we can't go off rescuing Honduran kids in Colombia.
This job tears you to pieces.
And where my fathers died.
And this is my one chance to put those pieces back together.
Land of the Pilgrims'
And yet somehow you have failed to bring me one real-world lead.
It's over, Tim. Close up and come back home.
So you quit your job and you go and rescue those kids.
Let freedom ring.
Well, Alejandro, I'm so excited to get some time with you. And I first want to start my conversation with you with really applauding you. And man, you talk about taking on such a hard subject matter to try to put into film, to give it a storyline. And I don't think you could have done a better job in really making sure that everything was tastefully done. It still, packs a punch, which it needs to do. I think it needs to be a little tough to watch. But let's start there, because this had to be an incredible thing to try to piece together on such a tough subject. So how much did that weigh on your heart as you were trying to piece this together in the beginning?
Well, it was, the greater the challenge, the greater the glory. So it's a very, very challenging process because, like you said, it's a very dark subject matter. And my goal as a filmmaker is how can I create a film that audiences can enjoy and digest? Because at the end, you don't go to the movies to be preached at or to be hit it over the head with such a hard subject matter. So as a filmmaker, I make movies so people can come and enjoy and be entertained by the power of cinema. Now, there's nothing wrong to be entertained and go through a journey that has profound meaning. And to me, I wanted to make a film that starts when the movie ends. So when you leave the theater, you leave with a piece of the film and with an awareness to a subject matter that is extremely important for the world to know. So that was the goal of the film, and we feel very proud because we've been screening the film for years now, and we've seen the reactions of the audience. And it's a dark subject matter, but you leave filled with hope.
And it's weird. It's because there's a good ending. I want to make sure people, because I'm a mom, I totally understand. I have 3 young kids at home. So I get the hesitation that parents may have to really want to open their eyes and see what's going on. So I want to make sure people know that there is a good ending. However, I do think it'll get people motivated to say, wait a minute, what can I do? What was it for you that you said, because you had to have known this was going to be a lot bigger project than just putting a film, that this was going to have a long-term kind of impact afterwards as well. What was it about this story that drew you in and said, you know what, yes, I want to devote not only just a time period to make the movie, but I'd imagine this is also going to be a part of your heart and a part of your life story now from here on out.
Yeah, for me was, there's 2 kinds of movies in my life as a filmmaker: the ones that I want to make and the ones that I'm called to make. And this was definitely a calling. It was not the film that I woke up one day and was like, I want to make a movie about child trafficking. It was, I was watching one night, late at night. I'm sure it was a rerun because it was like midnight. And I saw a news report. I think it was 2020 or 60 Minutes on child trafficking. And I remember it shook my soul. And I woke up the next day and I said, I had to do something about this. And the only thing that I know what to do is to tell stories. So I dove in and I started writing a fictionary story on this subject. And it was not until later that the producer of the film called me and he said, "Have you started writing the script?" And I say, "Not yet." He says, "Well, stop. I want you to meet Tim Ballard." And that's how the journey began. So it was definitely a calling, and I feel, the stars aligned and we all kind of came together to be able to tell this heroic story on the life of Tim Ballard.
Yeah. Talk about working with Jim, because I had a chance to talk with him last week, and I'm not sure they get more passionate than probably, I guess, Tim and Jim together. Tim is just as passionate as well. But when you talk with other actors and stuff, and he's of course done Passion of the Christ, so he's not afraid of these roles. But talk about what that's like working with someone as powerful as he is, and what that dynamic was like.
Well, Jim is a man of conviction, and that's what makes him a great actor. Because if he believes in the character, he dives in with all of his being, with everything he has. And this particular film speaks very personal to him. He adopted all of his children, and so he understands this subject matter very, very at a personal level. So when we started talking about the film, I saw that right away. I mean, his eyes got teary right away, and I understood that he was going to take this. He was going to dive deep, and he did that. So it was. I love. For me, this is an odyssey, and it was an odyssey. In the movie, it's an odyssey into the heart of darkness. A man who was willing to leave everything to go and rescue children. So, but the film in itself was also an odyssey, because, us as filmmakers, it's not an easy story to tell. And we were told from the beginning, it's going to be really hard to market and so on. So I needed to surround myself with people, including the actors, that understood and believed in the cause. This is more than a movie, it's a movement. And for me, the most dangerous thing that can happen when we face a darkness like this is for good people to do nothing. That's when things go that kills all the hope. And that's the importance of this film. It's still a movie. You're going to come, you're going to enjoy it, you're going to be entertained, because I make sure we take the audiences to an experience, a cinematic experience. So, but there's nothing wrong to have a cinematic experience with meaning, a meaningful journey, and a movie that really starts when you leave the theater.
I brought up Jim. I also want to quickly, if we can, talk about working with the children in this film as well. Working with an adult on this subject matter is one thing, but then when you bring all of these children that are also on set and in the production, talk about how that, I would imagine, it brought a whole new kind of uniqueness to this storytelling, and how you were going to still protect their innocence as well.
Well, I've every movie I've done, I've worked with children, so I know how to work with kids and how to pull their emotions. Especially normally most kids don't have experience. It's not like they're kids; they have a very short life. The younger brother, I think he was 6 years old. This was his first film. So it's for him, you cannot tell him what the story is about. So they didn't even know what the film was about.
That's what's fascinating to me.
Yeah. So all the way I work with them, it's literally, which is something I try to do in my life, is to be in the present. So I ground them in the present right there. And then I start talking about emotions that they actually can feel in that moment and not go anywhere. Yeah. So, and then little by little, I start pulling them up, and it takes, they'll give you one take or two takes. So I do a lot of takes just to warm it up. And then you just got to get ready for the moment to happen. And when it happens, that's it. Yeah. You have to move on. Yeah. It was definitely it's always a challenge. When I finish a film, I always say I will never work with kids again. And then the next movie, here I am. Feels good.
It's that calling thing again.
Yeah, kids are kids, and they're gonna tell you how it is. And when they get tired, they're tired, and when they don't want to keep shooting, they don't want to keep shooting. And also, they, by law, you can only shoot 4 or 5 hours a day, and that's it. And this movie was very ambitious. So you have to work with doubles, and really, it just makes it's adding another massive complication to a very complicated theme.
Yeah.
But again, the greater the challenge, the greater the glory. And yes, we were blessed to have found these incredible actors. These kids were amazing, and I let them found the project. Rocio, the girl that plays Rocio, she's incredible. I had given the role to another girl, not Rocio. Rocio was my second, what you call the backup. And the next day, I wanted to do a screen test and just flip the actors. And just out of instinct, I asked if Rocio could come, knowing that it was not her part. So it's very painful for an actor. Just come, you didn't get the part, but the director wants to see, just to put you around to see if there's chemistry between you and the brothers. And when I put Rocio and the brother, I knew it was him. So I casted. The kid was like, even though he's never acted before, and it's just the minute he sat down and his face, and I was like, okay, this is Miguel. But when the other actress was amazing, the other little girl, but then when Rocio came and I put them together, there was an instant chemistry between them. Wow, like naturally. And that's actually harder to go tell a kid that you already have given the part that they no longer have the part, and then give the role to the other girl. So it's always difficult because they're children. But there was something special about this film. Even though they didn't know what the film was about, everybody knew the importance of the film, and there was an air in the atmosphere that they knew this was a very important film. They knew it was a movie about protecting children. They knew that much. So they themselves, they understood the importance of the film, and it was very beautiful to see them go through the journey.
Hey, we're out of time, but real quickly, I want you to be able to wrap up. And if there's anything we left out, I want you to be able to get people in the theater, because I know that the opening week is big. What would you tell people as we close here?
Well, the most important thing, July 4th is not just, the day that celebrates freedom and independence in America, but it's also the blockbuster day. And we are coming out on the blockbuster day for films, and we're competing with films that have hundreds of millions of dollars for marketing. And if we don't do very well on the first week, then we're out of the game. So we really need the audience to really come and support films like this, so we can continue to make movies with meaning. Movies that begin when the movie ends, movies that create awareness, movies that become movements. So we really, really hope that all audiences come and join us on this movement and on this journey.
I've been telling all my family and friends. Alejandro, again, job well done. Thank you for all the dedication that has gone on to this, and I'm excited to see where God continues to, like you said, take this movement. It's more than a movie.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Hear that? That's the sound of freedom.